Have you ever hired someone and ended up answering the same 10 questions over and over again? If so, then this video is for you. I'm going to show you how you can build your own onboarding process that your new hires will rave about and actually use to hit the ground running. Hi there, my name is Presh, and I'm building an education startup from scratch. I've built my education startup for over a year and a half now, and I went from a team of 1 to a team of 13. Before I share with you our onboarding process, what exactly is onboarding and why should businesses do it? Onboarding is a process for new hires to ramp up to their new role. This generally involves them shadowing an existing teammate with their day-to-day work, reviewing, contributing, and providing feedback to existing internal resources. Businesses should have an onboarding process because it helps bridge the gap on what the new hires' expectations about their role are with the actual reality of it. And if the onboarding process is done right, then ideally the new hire should feel confident and comfortable participating in team meetings as well as external calls like customer calls. I would argue that every role in every company and every industry should have its own onboarding process. That way, every new hire has a time period where they can really soak in how your business does things and be able to ask questions as it comes up without having to feel so much pressure to perform with their role. Now that we know a little bit more about what the onboarding process is and why businesses should do it, how exactly should a business design an onboarding experience? There are 3 things that help us prepare for an effective onboarding process. They are 1, backwards planning, 2, getting other teammates' perspectives, 3, providing activities for the new hire to directly contribute to internal resources. With backwards planning, we are asking the question of what does the new hire need to feel confident and comfortable with their new role? For example, we recently created a learning and development coach role internally for one of our amazing tutors. In this new role, she would take on leading bi-weekly team meetings and bi-weekly one-on-ones with our tutors. With backwards planning, the question I'm asking myself when designing this onboarding experience is, what are the skills and resources that she needs to feel comfortable with taking these one-on-ones and team meetings? Some of those activities look like for her to review our tutors' resumes, to review the session notes that they send to parents, and to also check out existing one-on-one agendas and team meeting agendas. Through backwards planning, you are creating a goal for them to reach by the end of onboarding so that then you can start to create the steps needed to get to that goal. For the second tip of getting other teammates' perspectives, you are doing this so that you don't miss any cracks. I'm a big believer that when working with a team, 2 heads are better than 1. When you're designing an onboarding process, you have your own lens of what that role could look like for that new hire. But what if you ask other teammates that that new hire will be working with? In that case, because they'll be directly working with them, they'll have another perspective and another lens they can contribute to the onboarding process. I have a screenshot right here that shows you one of the messages that I sent to one of my teammates who will be working directly with our learning and development coach, and it's providing questions for her to think about to update the onboarding guide that I started. And because I collaborated with my teammate, I was able to make the onboarding guide so much more robust because I got feedback on how our new hire can directly contribute to internal resources. And this brings us to tip number 3, which is to provide opportunities for your new hire to directly contribute to internal resources. That's a mouthful to say, but it basically means that if you have internal documentation about what the role is, or a systems of operating procedures, or a playbook, whatever you call it internally, the goal is for them to review what's existing and to also contribute. What this communicates to your new hire is that you're already leaning into their expertise and you're creating a culture of collaboration. Some examples that we included in our onboarding process for our learning and development coach are 1, for them to share their perspectives of which key performance indicators or KPIs will be easy and difficult for them to coach our tutors. 2, we provided resource guides for best practices around writing session notes, communicating with parents, and etc. And in those resource guides, we're asking her to contribute examples and a how-to guide on how she does it as a tutor. And 3, there's a current challenge that I'm seeing with Slack where there's some engagement and sometimes disengagement, and I wanted to get her perspective on how she would solve for the disengagement. All of these activities in our onboarding guide is really meant to welcome their fresh perspective and introduce a culture of collaboration from the very beginning. All right, so what happens after onboarding? 1, you can get feedback from your new hire on how their onboarding process went. Definitely do that so that you can make the experience better for the next new hire. The second thing you can try to do is to have standing one-on-ones. If it's not you because you're super busy, then have a manager that can have that standing one-on-ones so that you can address wins and challenges as they come up. And 3 is when you have that future new hire for that same role, include your teammates to be part of creating and shaping that onboarding process. With that, let me know in the comments below, how would you design a better onboarding experience for your new hires? If you're interested in learning more about how you can design a hiring process that can save you hours, then check out my next video. Thanks so much for watching and see you in the next one. Peace!